Welcome to the first summer edition of the Haverhill Public Schools Education Update. Thank you for joining us. Today we are going to talk a little bit about our summer programs, which are remote as well as in person, and also we have some hybrid options. I'd like to share those with you. We're going to have the leaders of those programs come on and describe what's going on. They're all going very well. Like to highlight the fact that this coming Monday, we will start our Remote Learning Academy for all students that are interested. We'll be sending around some written information about that. But we want to give students a chance to get some high quality instruction in some key content areas during the summer at their pace and when they're ready. So we'll share some more information. Jen Ribera, one of our teachers, is leading that effort, and she'll be sharing her team's work with us. We'll also talk to Tracy Fuller from the YMCA and Denise Johnson from the Discovery Club, as well as Diane Connolly and Bonnie and Koviak and Mr. Glenn Burns, all employees of Haverhill Public Schools. But first, I'd like to just take a moment with Mr. Pifferling, our Assistant Superintendent, just to update you a little bit on the work that's going into returning to school in September. Mr. Pifferling.
Hi, everybody. I hope you all had a wonderful and safe Independence Day weekend. We're back into our full summer mode here. We're very busy with a lot of projects going on in our schools. Just to give a little update, our custodial staff is far ahead of where they normally are this time of year with cleaning of our buildings and doing our floors and windows and walls, replacing ceiling tiles and light fixtures and whatnot. They did get an early start, which was great, so it gives us some time to do some extra projects. We do have a lot of projects scheduled for the summer. We've got a lot of HVAC work going on within our schools, as well as we are visiting every classroom, checking every window, every screen, make sure that they're all operational, fixing everything that is not working properly right now. So we're really excited about that. I think it's been some time since some of our classrooms have had an opportunity for us to get this deep into our facilities. We've got a lot of concrete work going on to spruce up some of our outside areas. So we're really excited about, unfortunately having school out early this year, but it did give us some time to do some facilities updates that have really been needed around the district. So we're excited about that. And we're doing a lot of planning, and we've got our weekly planning meeting for facilities and back to school reentry planning. We've been going for about 2 months now, and that is really coming into shape. We continue to surprise ourselves as far as how much we've done. And then when we get guidance from DESE as far as how we're really on the same track as some of the things that they're asking us to do. So we're really impressed with that, and we're looking forward to getting everybody back to school.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting how much we have gotten done, but then every time I think about the work that's yet to come, it's totally overwhelming. The unknowns are frightening. There's so much to do, but we're doing it. We're taking it one day at a time. I know your team has done an excellent job. The HVAC systems, the windows, those are things that have needed to be done for a long time. But with the need for airflow in our schools, they moved way up the priority list very quickly. So I'm excited that we'll be getting some of that work done, get the airflow going. We met with principals this week. We had a little administrators, I don't know what we would call it, but we sort of sat, went in groups to one of the schools, set up classrooms, had conversations with each other about, what worked, why it worked, how would the flow of students in the building work, what are the things, what are the pitfalls, what are the things we need to look out for, how are we going to serve lunch, how many kids can we fit in a classroom, what makes sense, what other areas might we want to use. So we had some great conversations about that as a group this week, and we're continuing to do that across this month and into next month, really. But this is really crunch time for us. Even though school doesn't start to September, we really need to have a solid plan in place by the beginning of August that we can execute on, and want to be sharing with families at least options for what that plan might look like by the end of July. So we're deep in it right now.
Yeah, I have to say that exercise that we did on Tuesday was exceptional, and it's a few hours that we spent, but it's great to see that we're going to do that every week with our administrators, so that we can continue to fine tune some plans that we're putting in place and make sure that whatever we do is the best for our teachers, our staff, and our students.
Right. And there's so many ways to do things that we want to make sure that we have some consistency across the school district in what we do, and respect that each building is different and each staff is different, and elementary school is different from high school. But we just want to make sure that we're talking to each other, and that we all know what we're doing and why we're doing it.
Couldn't agree more. Nothing worse than finding out that one school kids have 10 minutes of recess, where another school's kids have 12 minutes of recess,
Yeah.
and got to keep the equity there. It's important.
Absolutely. So that's kind of taking up our summer at this point. And as I said, I think we'll be looking at probably the end of next week with a survey out to families with a couple of different options that we're looking at, to try to get some feedback from families. I think there are questions still. I imagine that we will have some in-person learning, definitely have a remote learning academy for kids who are immunocompromised or can't possibly come to school. Perhaps that could be expanding beyond that to families who are anxious or concerned about returning to school. There may be some criteria under which they could enter the remote learning academies. And I imagine we'll have some hybrid opportunities as well, particularly as kids get older at the high school levels, where remote learning is a little bit more effective than perhaps it is with our youngest students. And I think the other thing to realize is that we're also making plans for our students that have the highest needs, our students that might be in separate special education programs, or students that are English language learners, or kids that are significantly behind in some way, to assure that no matter what, they'll be in school every day, or at least if health allows. So we're planning for a lot of different things. Yeah, so I think that's it. We did want to let people know with this summer edition that we have children back in the buildings, that it is going well, that we are acknowledging all forms of social distancing and PPE, and that the kids are adhering to it. While it's maybe 300 students in our building right now, ish, and we'll be looking at 8,000 in the fall, it does give us an idea of things that maybe we wouldn't have thought of otherwise if we didn't have kids in the building. So we're looking at it as a learning opportunity, and we know that we're going to keep learning straight through September. You know, our focus when we come back to school is going to be on assuring that everybody's safe and healthy, and we'll ease ourselves back into the real rigor of learning and curriculum in the weeks across September. All right, well, that's it for me, Mr. Pifferling. Maybe we'll get in and talk to our guests about some of our summer programming.
Yeah, that sounds like a great plan, and I'm sure that we'll be doing these frequently throughout the summer, so that we can continue to update our community on things that are happening within the Haverhill Public Schools.
Absolutely, thank you. Good morning. I'm joined today by Bonnie Ankoviak, our new Chief of Teaching, Learning, and Leading, and Jen Ribera, a teacher at the Whittier School, who is also helping to lead our Summer Remote Learning Academy. We have a variety of summer options that we're going to be talking about today, but we'd like to start with the Summer Remote Learning Academy. Jen, can you tell us a little bit about the work that you and your team have been doing?
Sure. We have teams of teachers in different grade bands who are working on providing lessons that are going to be enrichment lessons, but then also remediation lessons. So the teachers, starting on Monday, students will be able to go to a Google site, the Summer Remote Learning Academy Google site, and from there they'll be able to go and select those lessons. The lessons will be synchronous, which means that there'll be live lessons that students can participate in those lessons, be able to connect with teachers in our district. But if you can't make those times, that's fine, because those lessons will be recorded and available for a later time. So our website will be up and ready to go by Friday evening, and those times will be sent out for families so that you can plan next week. And we hope that some of you will be able to join us.
That's awesome, Jen. So we can post the website address. We'll post that on this screen, as well as send that out to all families. Can you talk a little bit about, I know some of the families were concerned with the inconsistency in the remote learning between classrooms and between teachers. And we know we jumped into it quick and people came with different skill sets. So I know that you were really particular in looking to hire the right teachers for this role that really had the skills that you need. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. So we have, so our teams of teachers, they're looking very closely at the Common Core standards and definitely looking at the prerequisite standards needed for each grade. So all of the teachers will be looking at those different standards and be providing lessons to all of the kids to help them learn and grow. And again, provide that remediation that they need, but also provide opportunities for enrichment. So it's going to be a nice range of options, and a lot of them are very interesting. So the teachers that are on these teams are very passionate. They're so smart. They're very creative, and they are creating amazing lessons for the kids that they'll really enjoy and want to be a part of. So I'm excited to be a part of this work.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for taking this on. It's a big challenge in the middle of a difficult time, so I really appreciate it. And I know you've been working closely with Bonnie in Koviak, and Bonnie, I think you have some thoughts and some plans about how we might be able to move some of this work forward into our teaching and learning as we kind of roll into the fall. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, I was lucky enough to sit on some of the meetings with Jen's group, and we were able to really listen to what they're doing, which is very exciting work. And what we want to do is make sure when teachers and students come back to school in the fall that they are ready, and that we take into consideration what students might have missed while they were out during remote learning, and what we can work on to make sure that our expectations for them are still really high when they come in September, October, but we're still either doing what they missed, but also expanding and giving enrichment for those who didn't miss anything. So we have to remember that there are all different levels of students coming in all different areas of being ready to learn. So we are working with a group of teachers, and we're starting to make curriculum maps that will really have the students take off from where they left off, no matter at what level. So we're excited for that work, and we're meeting starting today.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you, Bonnie. I know the other groups are working as well. I know Mr. Piffling's deep into the operations work, and Ms. Connolly, Diane Connolly, has really pulled together a team around social emotional learning and supports for the fall. So I think it's exciting. You know, I know we need to have a plan to DESE by the end of July. So I know parents are kind of asking, when's it coming? When's it coming? So we'll be floating something out in the next couple of weeks for people. There will be a survey probably the end of next week coming out with some options for both teachers and parents that we want to let people know about too.
And we're really excited because our teachers are excited to see those kids and make sure that not only that they have the right curriculum, but they feel safe and they feel welcomed into the school next year. So we're excited for that.
Well, that's awesome, Bonnie. I thank you. And I guess I just want to sort of shout out again that we have these lessons starting Monday for all kids at all grade bands. We will send out information about specific times. You can join live or you can join later. If kids are looking something to do on a rainy day, they might want to do a couple of them, and that's great. I mean, they're designed to sort of hit the gaps where we think most kids are going to have gaps next year. So please come join us on that, everyone. And thank you to Bonnie and Jen. I'm now joined by Denise Johnson. Denise runs our discovery programs in all our schools, which run our enrichment programs, our after-school programs, and our summer school programs in multiple schools based on a grant. Welcome, Denise.
Welcome. Thank you, Margaret. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you for joining. Yeah, tell us a little bit. I know that you've got some kids back and you've got some face-to-face programming and some online programming. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We do. We have a variety of programs meeting this summer. We have some in-person programs. We have 3 programs at Haverhill High School, Glee Club, musical theater, and rock bands. And then we have 2 outdoor programs at Nettle School, fishing and ecosystems and outdoor recreation. And then 1 more at Constantino, which is a horticulture activity. So those programs are pretty long-standing programs. We've offered those for many years. And the teachers really wanted to be able to meet with kids in person, if at all possible. So we're really glad that we have this opportunity. And the teacher said that the first day, we started on Monday, the teacher said all of the kids were really quiet the first day. So maybe they were a little anxious coming back or just like not knowing what to expect. But by yesterday, everybody was kind of like back to normal. So kids are really glad to be in person. Everybody's following safety guidelines. The teachers are glad to be back. So that component's working really well. We also have 2 programs that started remotely on Monday. Those are technology programs. We have a robotics club that's meeting remotely for the next 4 weeks. And then we have a combination STEM awareness program for middle school kids that's connected. It's working in collaboration with a STEM development program for high school interns with the internship program at Haverhill High School. So that program is really awesome. We got a summer grant for that, a state grant, out of school time grant. The students have to work 150 hours, the high school students. So we have lead interns and we have junior interns, and they have developed programs for the middle school kids. So it's a little complicated. We're working in conjunction with our middle school discovery program. So the high school students started last week, developed workshops, and they're all around 5 STEM pathways at the high school. And so for 3 days, because of the schedule, there's a team of interns working in each STEM pathway. They're presenting for 3 days for 1 small group of middle school kids, and then they'll move on to another group. So the middle school kids will get a little snippet of each different pathway of 5 pathways over the 4-week period. We already got positive comments from the first day from some parents saying the kids are just really excited about it. So we're hoping that this is a new program for us. We're hoping that we can continue this. It's good for all of the kids. The high school kids are learning some leadership skills and college and career readiness, and the middle school kids are learning about different pathways at the high school, also about different careers and people in the industry. So we're really excited about that. And then we also have, also have an elementary program that will start next week, and that is all remote. So
Interesting.
that's about it.
That's really great. So just tell me quickly, the internship program, those kids, they receive pay for their 150 hours?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. We also have a partnership with Mass Hire. So all, there are about 29 or 30 interns. They will all get paid for the 150 hours through Mass Hire for the summer.
Great.
This is their summer job. Yeah.
We'll get some budding teachers out of that group.
Yeah.
That would be great. So, and then the other question I wanted to just circle back to was sort of the in-person learning, because I know everybody's nervous about that. And one of the things I've heard about certainly is the idea of glee and wind instruments and singing. So how are you what extra precautions are you taking around that?
Well, we knew early on that the instruments might be an issue. So, and we also had to submit a plan to DESE before we started the program. So we included in the plan that we wouldn't have wind or brass instruments in person. But Dean Seropoulos, who's the teacher for that program, is incorporating that virtually. And we also have some students in that program that they didn't feel comfortable coming in person, so they're participating virtually.
Right.
So some kids are doing both. They're coming some days and then they're practicing at home, and then other kids are just participating virtually. So at least we're able to meet all of the needs of the students who wanted to participate.
That's great. And I noticed some of the classrooms were set out outside at the high school. So I know that to the extent possible, you're trying to do some work outside on nice days.
Yes. Yeah, we understand the singing's another issue too. So they're trying to do that outside. They're trying to be outside as much as possible. And so far, they're keeping their spaces and keeping their masks on when they're, close together. But so far, it's going really well.
Well, that's awesome. I thank you for sort of being out there in the front of this work, getting some kids back into school. I think there's important lessons for us to learn, and it's certainly much better and easier for us to learn with a small group of kids and make changes on the fly than with
Well,
thousands of kids. So
thank you for the opportunity. Everybody's really appreciative. So thank you.
yeah, no, I think it's great, and I know there are families out there that really need to sort of get back to work and get back to their normal lives, and it's very difficult without childcare.
That's right.
Also aware that there are other families who are very nervous about returning to school. So I love that you have an option where you can still join in and you can do it remotely, and I think that's great.
We even have a couple of students who signed up, or they found out they had signed up for our program, and they found out that they had to attend another program. So the classes that have that virtual option, we're still offering to parents, like, well, you could still maybe participate. Maybe it wouldn't be the full 100%, but the teacher is willing to work with you virtually, and that's an option. So we're glad we're able to accommodate different needs too.
That's awesome. That's really good. I'm sure we'll learn a lot of valuable lessons. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now please welcome Tracy Fuller of our YMCA and Diane Connolly of Haverhill Public Schools, who's been helping us to coordinate the summer programs and also is on the board of the YMCA. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah, thank you. Tracy, you're several years strong into a summer reading program, and I know that you've needed to adapt it a little bit this summer, but please tell us what's going on and how you're working here in the COVID era.
Thanks, Margaret. Yes, we're in year 8 of our Y Summer Readers program, which identifies students that are more than half a year behind in the reading level. And yes, learning to adapt has been the words of the day the last few months, but we're thrilled that Haverhill Public Schools have been such a great partner, and we're offering the program at the high school. So we currently have 24 students in person for our Y Summer Readers program, still with all of the great aspects of the program, including following the 4-block model, pre and post testing. And we thought students would be a bit apprehensive, but you know what? They've jumped right in, and they've been thrilled to see a teacher face to face and have an opportunity to write, have an opportunity to learn. So we're excited to be able to provide that. But we did know a lot of our families need 7 to 6 care. So we've hired teachers specifically to come to our summer camp programs, both at the Y and at Camp Trickland Falls. So we're able to serve an additional 60 students who are behind in their reading right at their summer camp. So we pull them out, we do reading models with them, we do a block of time, and the students have really enjoyed it. Our campers are getting to learn, but they're also getting to swim and do all the fun things that kids enjoy in the summer, and parents have the peace of mind of a quality program and academic support, which is so important right now.
That's really great, Tracy. I love that model.
Thank you.
The kids are and support them. And so the program that's actually running at the high school is a little bit smaller, but you sort of adapted that by going to where the kids are at their summer programming and adding supports there. Is that right?
We did, and we are still accepting applications. We do have parents that have been reaching out to us, and we're still accepting applications. But again, we know how important it is to help our students get back on track. We also know how important it is to give them opportunities to learn, and our teachers have been great with, they're both have camp savvy and teachers, and being able to provide that reading component, that key literacy component, which is so key for students, and provide that support, right where they're at, where it doesn't feel like summer school because they're outside and they're doing fun things, but they're taking home a journal and they're reading extra books and focusing on some self-guided reading, which is so key. So we're hoping, and we'll see with our post-test, that'll help them strengthen their reading level as they get back to school.
That's great. And so when you say you have some openings, you have openings in your camp program and in your reading program, or what do you?
We have openings in both. We do have limited transportation to Trickland Falls, but we do have gymnastics camp, and we have a traditional day camp at the Y, as well as Camp Trickland Falls. But we do still have some openings at the high school as well. So people can reach out to us at the Haverhill Y, and we'll be happy to talk to you about the program and have you sign on. And obviously we're following all of the CDC guidelines regarding safety, sanitation for both our teachers and our students.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tracy, and thank you for being
Thank you.
such a great partner. I mean, the YMCA has done great things for the children of Haverhill, and the summer reading program really has wonderful results. So,
Oh, thank you, Margaret. We appreciate it. Thanks.
no, absolutely well deserved. And Diane, can you talk to us a little bit about, you've been doing some of the umbrella planning across all of the summer programs. Maybe you want to talk for just a minute about some of the things that have had to be tackled that weren't in former years, and some of the things that are happening in our programs.
Certainly, thank you. We have definitely a blended model this year where our traditional programming, Summer Academy, targeted towards our high needs students, are all remote learning. And then we have some remote learning that we're working on for the fall. I have visited all of the Discovery sites, and everyone is smiling. I was at the horticulture this week and learned that monarch butterflies lay their chrysalis on milkweeds, and they had one there, and the kids were just over the moon. I mean, I felt like it was planted there, but it wasn't. They're planting a vegetable garden, they're watering flowers. Nothing was put a smile on my face more than to watch 8 kids with fishing poles, social distancing, walking 6 feet apart down a hill to the pond. So just echoing what Denise said, that the staff and students on the on-site programs are certainly happy to be there. I was out at a bus stop the other day. The kids are getting it. Even standing at the bus stop, they knew that they weren't supposed to be together, and they were kind of separate. They all had masks on. The bus pulled up, the driver greeted them, sanitized their hands, and on they went. So I really feel that, under the guidance of our nursing director, Katie Voziolis, there's been a lot of training for the staff, transportation, the drivers, the monitors, and families are taking the guidelines seriously from what I could see. And I say it is just all positive right now. So for those families that are apprehensive, I understand, but I would welcome you to come visit some of the programs, come visit what we're doing to ease any apprehension that you would have. But other than that, I really think that the summer programming in Haverhill Public Schools it is and will continue to be a positive experience for all.
That's great. Thank you, Diane. And I agree, people are welcome to visit. If people would like to visit, they should call the superintendent's office. We'll set something up for them to walk through, on a nice day, and see sort of the outside learning and some of the things that are going on. Please don't just come to the school. We all have to be very aware in this sort of socially distant time. So
yes. So yes, please contact the superintendent's office.
But yeah, so I appreciate all the work you've been doing. I agree. Transportation, food services, everyone again has been working really hard to make sure that things are safe for our kids. So I appreciate them, and I appreciate your oversight and your leadership in this process. Thank you.
And Tracy, I drove by the Y the other day, and I never thought you could have an outdoor water park social distancing, but those sprinklers were 12 feet apart, and those little bathing suits were having a blast. So I think we're figuring it out as we go.
Yes, and they don't care where those sprinklers are, so they're just having fun, which is what it's all about. So yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you for providing those opportunities for our kids.
Oh, absolutely.
And now I'd like to welcome Mr. Burns. Mr. Burns, principal of Haverhill High School, a regular contributor to our program. Glenn, how are you this July day?
We're doing really well at Haverhill High School.
You have some kids back, I understand. You've got, a little bit of hustle and bustle going on the high school campus.
We do. We're really excited to have the kids back. The faculty here is excited to be engaging with them. We have about 60 in person for our bridge to Haverhill High School, which are our incoming freshmen. There are about another 10 to 12 that are doing it remotely and in that program. And then we have our discovery program over in the A wing, which has about 40 scholars in it, and then the YMCA over in the M wing. So as far as the campus goes, our campus is a very big place, and all of the programs are totally separate and being managed and have their own facilities, food services. Everything is being managed very well.
Yeah, it looks great. It's impressive. It was nice to come by the other day and see some students on campus. It was a little sad there for a while. Is this impacting your thoughts about the fall? I know you're deep in planning and there's so many options, but what are you thinking at this point?
Well, I think that it was a great opportunity to bring our kids in and to see how they're going to interact and how the teachers are going to interact, and also easing some of the apprehensions of the staff to see how it's done, following the guidelines that have been set forth. So I think that it's been a great trial run. We're excited to have the opportunity to bring kids back, pending that it is safe, and we are planning to that end. But we will also have plans for a hybrid model as well as a remote learning model as things across the state and the country change.
Well, thank you for that. I know we're all trying to sort of scramble, looking for guidance and making some decisions that works for families and kids. Want to open up to the maximum extent possible, but at the same time be aware that everybody's safe. I am excited. I love the Bridge to Ninth Grade program. I'm glad that we were able to do that in person this summer. I think that's a particularly high-risk group of kids, and I think it's great the way you're bringing them into the building and try to get them a head start to connections and relationships in the high school.
Yeah, it's so important. We're glad that the faculty again stepped up. They're mainly freshman teachers in that program, so it gives the kids a really great opportunity to have a familiar face on day one, instead of feeling lost and not connected to the school. They're doing some great work in that program. They have an English language arts class, a math class, executive functioning, and a PE/health class. And those rotate. So it gives the kids a variety of opportunities to engage with different curriculum that they're going to see at the high school, as well as meet some new kids from different schools. Brings them together. And last year, the success rate of the program was significantly high, and we know how important freshman year is to the success and graduation rates of our kids.
That's great. That's great. And I know you and I spent some time last week writing a grant, hopefully to defray some of the costs of that summer program, as well as to look at some vacation academies for middle school and high school kids during the school year to make up for some of the learning loss.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to see what comes of that. The Vacation Academy was a big success last year, as well as Saturday schools for us. We had about 30 to 50 kids drop in every Saturday to receive extra help, and I think that that's going to continue as we provide the kids with more opportunities and more education about what grade point average means and their opportunities to get into the career choices that they want. And a big help has been our guidance department, who's been working on curriculum, college and career curriculum, as well as Northern Essex with our early college program, going from 34 kids our first year to now 180 scholars in the program is really setting the bar high, and kids want to take advantage of the extra supports that we can offer so they can reach their goals.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to hear that the program's grown just so much, and much more diverse and representative of the school and the community as a whole in terms of kids entering the program. So I think that's exciting. I should mention that we also put in a grant to do Saturday morning programming at our elementary schools as well. So we're hoping to get some remediation and enrichment across the school system, because we know our kids have lost some time and they need some more supports. So I thank you, Mr. Burns, as always. Keep up the good work. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you again in a couple of weeks as we begin to get some more finalized plans for next year.
Great, thank you. Yeah, I look forward to sharing our plans as soon as possible, and hopefully everything keeps going on the right track here in Massachusetts.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for our first summer edition of the Haverhill Public Schools Education Update. I hope it's been informative and helpful to you. I would like to let you know that we do have an email address, 2020 reopen at haverhill-ps.org, where you can send specific questions or comments about the reopening of school in the fall. We are looking at those questions and comments routinely and discuss them at our weekly meeting about the reopening. So all questions and comments are welcome and will be reviewed. So we thank you for your community input on that. Please be on the lookout for a survey, hopefully a brief survey, coming to your home the end of next week, offering a couple of options and trying to gather some data on what people might be most interested in for the fall. So as always, I am thankful for your support of our schools and for your patience with us in moving forward. And we will keep you informed as we get information and as we make plans. Thank you very much, and have a safe and happy, healthy summer.